Every time my father would visit me in prison, he tried to bring me contraband, but it probably isn't what you think. My name is Jesse, and I spent 19 years in the Virginia prison system, and there are two things you need to know about my father. The first is that he was a die-hard recovering addict. Like, that was a huge part of his identity. And on the other hand, he'd been a criminal for most of his life, so he had those habits kind of entrenched. It was like these two parts of him were just butting heads. I remember before I went to prison, we were going into a grocery store, and this guy came running out with 2 cases of beer with the employee chasing him. My dad said he was torn between turning and getting the license plate of the car this guy was getting into, and alternatively tripping the employee who was trying to chase him to get the license plate. So again, he couldn't really decide who he wanted to be. So what he would do is he would take cough drops and toothpicks, and he would stick in his watch pocket, or he would stick in his back pocket, knowing they probably weren't going to grab his ass shaking down, and he'd either get him in, or he'd say, oh, my bad, sorry. But he was always so happy when he got him in, and I realized it was 2 things. One is he wanted to show up for me in ways that nobody else could, because he wasn't allowed to bring me anything. He couldn't do anything, and as a parent, he felt powerless. Like, he wanted to do for me, and he felt bad that he couldn't. So this was his way of doing something he knew nobody else would. Like, I'll smuggle you cough drops. Like, nobody else is smuggling you cough drops. And I think the other thing was the thrill. So one of the things my dad had described, and a lot of people I talked to in prison described, was loving the thrill of criminality. Loving the rush, loving trying to get away with it, loving that feeling. And I think that's really important because I know I have a part of that in me. Like, I love motorcycles, like I love fast cars, like I love those things, and I think that steered in the wrong direction leads to that kind of criminal behavior. So the question is, how can we have that thrill? How can we have those things without engaging in that criminal behavior? And I'm really glad that I saw that in him because it kind of guided me as I tried to get my life together. Because I realized the same thing that were like flaws and mistakes or issues with him could be flaws or mistakes or issues with me if I didn't address them. So I wanted to be as prepared as possible. So I looked at those adrenaline things and I was like, all right, well, cool. I'll get a motorcycle. Eventually I'll try to take it to the track. Like, I'll try to be responsible in chasing this adrenaline rather than letting it take me down a different track. I looked at the issues he had had with honesty and in relationships, and I said, okay, I need to address these things in myself. Like, I need to go to therapy. I need to work on this. And so what it was he allowed me to be a better person. Because as I saw the things that he succeeded at and the things he struggled with, it made me realize where I could focus my energies, where I could learn, and where I could learn to do better. So I'm really grateful because the mistakes that my father made were really kind of like a guideline for me to do better as I got out.